The stars shimmered peacefully in the night sky above the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. Alan Brooks rubbed his tired eyes and took another sip of cold coffee. Most of his colleagues had gone home hours ago, but Alan always stayed late. The quiet of the night shift gave him time to think, to search, to wonder. The computer screen in front of him displayed the usual cosmic background noise, until it didn't. Alan sat up straight, coffee forgotten. The pattern was subtle at first, but unmistakable to his experienced eye. Something was moving toward Earth. Something big. And it wasn't following any known orbital path. This can't be right, Alan muttered, running the calculations again. But the numbers didn't lie. Whatever he was seeing was approaching at impossible speeds. He picked up his phone and called the one person he knew would take him seriously. Kate Wilson answered on the fourth ring, her voice thick with sleep. "Kate, it's Alan. I need you to come in." "Do you know what time it is?" she asked. "I know it's late, but this can't wait until morning. I'm seeing something unusual." There was a pause on the line. In their 5 years working together, Alan had never called Kate in the middle of the night. "I'll be there in 20 minutes, she said. When Kate arrived, her short blonde hair still messy from sleep, Alan was printing out charts and readouts. He handed her a stack of papers without looking up. "What am I looking at?" Kate asked, flipping through the pages. "At first I thought it was a new comet or asteroid cluster, but look at the movement pattern. It's slowing down, changing direction, breaking into formation." Kate's eyes widened as she processed what he was saying. "That's not possible." "It's happening right now," Alan said. He pointed to the main screen where dozens of objects were spreading out in what looked like a deliberate pattern. "Whatever these things are, they're being controlled." By dawn, the observatory director had been notified. By noon, the military had arrived. By sunset, the President of the United States was being briefed in the Oval Office. General Frank Howard stood at attention as he delivered the news. "Mr. President, we have confirmed the presence of multiple unidentified objects approaching Earth. Their technology appears to be far beyond our own." The President leaned forward in his chair. "Have they made contact?" "No, sir, but they've positioned themselves in orbit around our planet. Every major nation has detected them. Russia, China, and the European Union are all demanding answers we don't have." The President turned to his science advisor, Dr. Patel. "What are we dealing with here?" Dr. Patel cleared his throat. "Based on their movement capabilities alone, we're facing a civilization centuries ahead of us technologically. The energy required to travel between star systems and maneuver as they do is, well, it's beyond our current understanding of physics." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "Options?" the President finally asked. General Howard frowned. "Militarily speaking, sir, we have none. If they decide to attack, we can't stop them." At that moment, the White House Chief of Staff burst into the room. "Mr. President, they're broadcasting something. It's being picked up worldwide." Screens around the room lit up with the same image, a tall, humanoid figure with gray-blue skin and large black eyes. When it spoke, its mouth didn't match the yak words, suggesting some kind of translation technology. "People of Earth, I am Fleet Admiral Zorax of the Galactic Hegemony. Your world now falls under our domain. Resistance is futile and unnecessary. We offer you the chance to surrender peacefully and join our empire as a protectorate state. You have 24 Earth hours to comply. After that time, we will provide a demonstration of the consequences of defiance." The transmission ended, leaving the room in stunned silence. Half a world away in a small apartment in California, Lisa Mendez watched the same broadcast on her laptop. Unlike most people, who reacted with fear or disbelief, Lisa felt a strange sense of validation. For years, her work in quantum physics had suggested the possibility of technologies that her peers dismissed as science fiction: instantaneous communication, gravity manipulation, energy generation on scales that seemed impossible. Her phone rang. The caller ID showed a number she didn't recognize. "Dr. Mendez, this is Colonel Ben Reeves with the United States Air Force. We need your expertise." A car will be at your location in 30 minutes. Lisa didn't hesitate. I'll be ready. Within hours, she found herself in an underground facility beneath a mountain in Colorado. Military personnel rushed in all directions, and screens displayed satellite images of the alien ships in orbit. Colonel Reeves led her to a conference room where several other scientists had gathered. Dr. Mendez, thank you for coming. Your theoretical work on quantum barrier technology is suddenly very relevant. Lisa looked around the table. My work is still theoretical. I've never had the funding to build a working prototype. You have it now, the colonel replied. Unlimited resources, the best minds we could gather in very little time. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., the National Security Council debated Earth's response to the ultimatum. Military leaders advocated for showing strength, diplomats urged caution, and intelligence officers admitted they had no reliable information on the aliens' capabilities or intentions. Jack Sanders, a State Department official known for his unconventional thinking, sat quietly at the back of the room. When the arguing reached a fever pitch, he stood up. "May I speak?" he asked. The room quieted, more out of surprise than respect. Sanders rarely spoke at these meetings. "We're thinking about this all wrong," he said. "We're assuming we need to either fight or surrender, but in any negotiation, psychology matters as much as power." "This isn't a trade deal, Sanders." "General," Howard growled. "These aliens have made their intentions clear." "Have they?" Jack replied. "They want us to believe resistance is futile. What if we make them believe the same about their invasion?" The National Security Advisor frowned. "What are you suggesting?" "A bluff," Jack said simply. "One that plays on universal fears of the unknown." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the building. The Secretary of Defense received a message and turned pale. "They've started early. Multiple strikes reported across the globe. Military bases in Russia, China, and the United States have been hit with some kind of energy weapon from orbit. Casualties are significant." Screens around the room showed footage of destroyed installations, burning ruins where powerful defense systems had once stood. The message was clear. Earth's military power meant nothing to the invaders. As panic spread across the globe, Alan Brooks and Kate Wilson watched from their observatory. The aliens had carefully avoided civilian populations, instead targeting only military assets. It was a calculated show of force. "They could wipe us out if they wanted to," Kate whispered. Alan nodded slowly. "But they haven't. Why?" In Colorado, Lisa Mendez stared at equations on a whiteboard while reports of the attacks came in. Something about the aliens' technology was nagging at her. The energy signatures didn't make sense unless... Her eyes widened. "I need to see all the data from the attacks," she said urgently. "There's something we're missing." In Washington, Jack Sanders watched the footage with a strange calm. As others around him panicked, a plan was forming in his mind. He slipped out of the room and made a call to an old friend from his days in psychological operations. The aliens had made their first move. Now it was humanity's turn to respond. The world changed overnight. Major cities fell into panic as news of the alien attacks spread. People rushed to stores for supplies, clogged highways trying to escape to the countryside, and gathered in churches, mosques, and temples to pray. Government leaders made speeches urging calm, but their voices trembled. Everyone knew the truth. Earth was outmatched. Jack Sanders walked quickly through the underground bunker where the remnants of the U.S. government had gathered. His plain face and average build helped him move through the crowds unnoticed. People saw only his unremarkable brown suit, not the sharp mind behind his calm eyes. He found Greg Peterson in a small office surrounded by maps and communication equipment. Greg had a military haircut and the hard eyes of someone who had seen too much during his years in psychological warfare. "You actually came," Greg said, standing to shake Jack's hand. "Your message said it was important," Jack replied. Greg gestured at the screens showing chaos across the world. "This is psychological warfare on a global scale. These aliens hit just enough targets to scare us, but not enough to cripple us. They want surrender, not destruction." Jack nodded. Fear is their weapon. We need to use it against them. How do you propose we do that? Greg asked. I need you to help me find someone, Jack said. An anthropological linguist named Olivia Carter. Across the country, Lisa Mendez stood in a room full of the brightest scientific minds America could gather. They analyzed data from the alien attacks, looking for any weakness. Lisa stared at energy readings from the destroyed military bases, seeing a pattern others missed. These weapons aren't as advanced as we think, she announced suddenly. The room fell silent. Dr. William Harris, a senior physicist, frowned at her. They destroyed our best defenses in seconds. Yes, Lisa said, walking to the main screen. But look at the energy signatures. They're using focused particle beams, just more efficient versions of technology we've already theorized. The difference is scale, not concept. Colonel Reeves leaned forward. Are you saying we could build something similar? Not exactly, Lisa said. But I'm saying their technology follows rules we understand. And if we understand it, we can find ways to counter it. She paused. I need access to the Nevada facility. The colonel's face hardened. That site doesn't exist, Dr. Mendez. We both know it does, Lisa replied. And we both know it contains technology that might save us. In New York, Olivia Carter stood on the roof of her apartment building, watching distant smoke rise from where an alien beam had sliced through a military installation across the harbor. Her phone rang. The number was blocked. Hello? She answered. Dr. Carter? This is Jack Sanders from the State Department. I need your expertise on interspecies communication. Olivia laughed bitterly. I study human languages and cultures, Mr. Sanders, not aliens. The principles are the same, Jack said. All communication contains cultural assumptions. I need someone who can see past them. Olivia watched another plume of smoke rise in the distance. Where do you need me? In space, Admiral Zorax reviewed the results of the first strikes. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Krell, stood by his side, gray-blue skin reflecting the light of the command screens. The humans' military capabilities have been reduced by 60%, Krell reported. Their global communications show widespread panic. Yet no official surrender, Zorax noted, his black eyes narrowing. Curious. They are primitive and divided, Krell said. Perhaps they cannot agree on who speaks for their world. Zorax tapped a long finger against the arm of his command chair. Send another message. Make it clear that the next demonstration will target their population centers. Back on Earth, Alan Brooks and Kate Wilson had been moved to a secure facility where they continued to monitor the alien fleet. They tracked subtle movements, trying to predict the invaders' next move. They're repositioning, Alan said, pointing to his screen. These 4 ships are moving into position above major cities. Kate checked her calculations. New York, Beijing, Moscow, and London. They're targeting the most populated areas now. Alan looked up, his face pale. We need to warn someone. Warn. In the underground bunker, Jack Sanders met with Olivia Carter. Her dark skin contrasted with her white shirt, and her eyes showed both fear and curiosity. You want to send them a message? She asked after hearing Jack's plan. What makes you think they'll listen? Because they want something from us, Jack replied. Conquerors always do. Labor, resources, territory. They could have destroyed us already, but they haven't. Greg Peterson joined them, carrying a tablet. The aliens are broadcasting again. They watched as Admiral Zorax appeared on screen. People of Earth, your time to surrender is ending. Our next demonstration will show you the cost of continued resistance. Choose wisely. When the message ended, Olivia looked troubled. Their language is direct, their threats explicit. This culture values power and submission. Jack nodded. Then we need to speak their language. Not with power we don't have, but with mystery they can't ignore. In Nevada, Lisa Mendez was escorted deep underground to a facility that officially didn't exist. The elevator descended for what felt like minutes. When the doors opened, she gasped. The vast chamber contained what could only be described as alien technology. A large, partially disassembled craft sat in the center, surrounded by workstations where scientists studied various components. "Welcome to Darkstone Facility," Colonel Reeves said. "In 1947, something crashed near Roswell. Most of it was brought here." Lisa's mind raced with possibilities. "This changes everything." "We've made progress understanding some of it," the colonel continued, "but we need breakthroughs, not progress. You have 12 hours. In Washington, the president met with his remaining advisors. Reports showed alien ships positioning above major cities worldwide. Military options were exhausted. Diplomatic channels remained silent. "What are our options?" the president asked, looking older than he had just days ago. The Secretary of State spoke first. "Sir, most world leaders are considering surrender." "And if we surrender?" the president asked. "Best case, we become a colony," the National Security Advisor said. "Worst case, they eliminate resistance and take what they want anyway." A junior aide entered and whispered something to the Chief of Staff, who then leaned toward the president. "Sir, Jack Sanders is requesting permission to broadcast a message to the alien fleet." "Sanders?" The president frowned. "What kind of message?" "He says it's better if you don't know the details, sir." The president laughed without humor. "At this point, what do we have to lose?" In the communications center, Jack Sanders, Greg Peterson, and Olivia Carter prepared Earth's response. They had coordinated with other major nations to use all available broadcast technology. "Will this work?" Greg asked as they finalized the transmission. "I don't know," Jack admitted. "But fear works both ways." Olivia finished the translation into what they believed would be the most universally understood format. "It's ready." Jack took a deep breath and pressed the broadcast button. In orbit, Admiral Zorax was preparing to order the second wave of attacks when Sub-Commander Krell interrupted. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Global broadcast on all frequencies and in multiple formats." "Display it," Zorax ordered, expecting pleas for mercy. Instead, the message was brief and appeared in the hegemony's own language. "We tried to warn the last ones, too." Zorax stared at the screen, his black eyes reflecting the simple message. For the first time since arriving at Earth, he felt something unexpected. Doubt. "What does this mean?" he demanded. Krell hesitated. "Unknown. Admiral, our records show no previous advanced civilizations making contact with Earth." "Then it's a bluff," Zorax declared, but his voice lacked conviction. "The translation is perfect," Krell noted. "Too perfect for their level of technology." Zorax stood from his command chair and walked to the viewing portal. Earth turned slowly below, seemingly primitive and vulnerable, yet that message suggested something else entirely. "Delay the next attack," he ordered. "I want a full scan of the planet's surface and historical analysis of all available data. Find out what they're hiding." For the first time since the invasion began, humanity had bought itself time. The alien ships remained in orbit, silent and watching. On Earth, people emerged from shelters cautiously resuming their lives while keeping one eye on the sky. The brief message had bought humanity precious time, but everyone knew it might not last. Aboard the Hegemony flagship, Admiral Zorax paced the command deck. Intelligence officers worked frantically to understand Earth's cryptic warning. Sub-Commander Krell approached with a datapad. "Admiral, we have completed initial scans of the planet," Krell reported. "And," Zorax demanded, "the results are confusing. We've detected energy signatures from several locations that don't match the humans' known technology level. There are also unusual structures deep beneath the oceans and inside mountain ranges." Zorax frowned. "Natural formations?" "No, Admiral, they appear artificial, but they're not visible on the surface. Some seem to be very old." Zorax stared at the holographic display of Earth. "Send reconnaissance teams to investigate these anomalies. I want answers, not mysteries." Krell hesitated. "Should we not simply proceed with the invasion?" "The humans cannot stop our forces." "Cannot?" Zorax turned to face his second-in-command. "Or have not yet. There have been other species who spoke with confidence before their destruction. In Nevada, Lisa Mendez hadn't slept in 30 hours. She moved between workstations in the Darkstone facility, examining the alien technology recovered decades ago. The crash at Roswell had yielded incredible advances, but much remained mysterious. "This material," she said, pointing to a section of the craft's hull, "it responds to electrical currents in ways that defy our understanding of physics." Dr. Harris nodded. "We've documented the effect but never explained it." Lisa touched the material gently. "It's not just responding to electricity, it's responding to quantum fields. What if this isn't a spacecraft at all? What if it's part of a much larger system?" Colonel Reeves approached them. "Dr. Mendez, we've detected unusual activity at 3 other sites around the world. Energy signatures similar to what we're seeing here." Lisa's eyes widened. "They're waking up." In Washington, Jack Sanders met with Olivia Carter and Greg Peterson to assess the impact of their message. "It worked," Greg said, showing satellite images. "The aliens have halted their attack plans. They're sending small craft to various locations instead." "They're searching," Olivia noted. "Our message made them uncertain." Jack nodded. "But uncertainty only buys us time. We need more." "I've been studying their communication patterns," Olivia said. "There's an odd gap in their historical references. They have extensive knowledge of many galaxies, but there's a blank period about 3,000 years ago." "A civilization-wide trauma?" Jack suggested. "Possibly," Olivia replied. "Something they don't want to remember." A young aide burst into the room. "Sir, we've lost contact with the Nevada facility." Deep beneath the Nevada desert, Lisa Mendez watched in awe as the recovered alien craft began to glow. Lights flickered across its surface, and the air hummed with energy. "What's happening?" Colonel Reeves demanded. "It's activating," Lisa whispered, "but I didn't do anything." The room shook as the facility's lights failed. Emergency systems kicked in, casting everything in red light. On screens around the room, alerts showed similar events occurring in facilities around the world. "Get everyone out," Colonel Reeves ordered. "Now!" But Lisa stood transfixed as a section of the craft opened, revealing a chamber inside. "Wait," she said. "I think it wants to show us something." At the Arecibo Observatory, now heavily guarded by military personnel, Alan Brooks and Kate Wilson monitored unusual signals coming from space. "The alien fleet is splitting up," Alan noted. "Several ships are moving to positions over the Arctic, Siberia, and the South Pacific." Kate checked the data. "Those locations match the energy signatures we detected earlier." Alan's computer beeped with an incoming message. He opened it and gasped. "It's from Lisa Mendez. Look at this." The message contained images of glowing symbols projected from the craft in Nevada. The symbols were unlike any human language. "What does it mean?" Kate wondered. "I don't know," Alan replied, "but I think we're about to find out." In orbit, Admiral Zorax received troubling news. One of the reconnaissance teams sent to investigate an underwater structure in the Pacific had gone missing. Another team, exploring a mountain facility in Tibet, reported strange technology activating on its own. "Admiral," Krell said urgently, "our historians have found something. There are ancient records of a species that vanished from the galaxy 3,000 years ago. The predecessors. They were said to have hidden their most valuable technologies on sanctuary worlds." "Sanctuary worlds?" Zorax repeated. "Planets designated for protection," Krell explained. "The records are fragmentary, but they suggest the predecessors created hidden defenses on these worlds." Zorax's eyes narrowed. "And they believe Earth is such a world?" "The evidence suggests it might be," Krell admitted. "The humans' warning makes sense if they are aware of these defenses." A communication officer interrupted them. "Admiral, one of our scout ships has returned from Earth. They're requesting immediate clearance." The scout ship that landed in the flagship's bay carried only one crew member, the pilot. The other 5 members of the reconnaissance team were missing. The pilot stumbled out, his gray-blue skin pale with fear. "Report," Zorax demanded. "We found the structure, Admiral," the pilot said, his voice shaking. "Deep, beneath a mountain. Inside were chambers filled with technology far beyond anything in the hegemony. When we attempted to access it, the facility responded." Responded how? Zorax asked. It took them, the pilot whispered. The walls themselves moved. My team disappeared one by one. I barely escaped. Zorax turned to his tactical officer. Prepare a full assault. We strike immediately before whatever defenses they have can fully activate. On Earth, Lisa Mendez had made a breakthrough. The symbols projected by the craft had begun to make sense, not as language, but as mathematical equations. It's a key, she told Colonel Reeves. These equations describe how to activate dormant systems. What systems? He asked. Before Lisa could answer, the ground beneath them trembled. Not the short, sharp shaking of an earthquake, but a steady vibration that seemed to come from far below. I think we're about to find out, she said. In Washington, Jack Sanders received reports of strange phenomena around the world. Structures were emerging from oceans. Mountains were opening to reveal. Hidden installations and energy readings were spiking everywhere. The president called an emergency meeting. World leaders joined via secure video links, their faces showing a mixture of fear and hope. What's happening to our planet? The president asked. Jack stepped forward. Sir, I believe Earth is revealing its true nature. We aren't alone, and we never were. A new figure entered the room, a woman no one recognized. She wore a simple uniform with no insignia, her aging face calm despite the chaos. My name is Linda Morrison, she announced. I am the keeper of Earth's legacy, a position passed down through my family for generations. She looked around at the stunned faces. What you're seeing is Earth's defense grid activating. It was left here long ago by those who came before us. Humanity was entrusted with this world, not as its owners but as its guardians, in orbit. Admiral Zorax watched in growing horror as massive structures rose from Earth's oceans and mountain ranges opened to reveal technological marvels beyond even the hegemony's understanding. Admiral, Krell said, his voice tight with fear, our weapon systems are failing. Something is interfering with our targeting computers. Zorax stared at the view screen where Earth now seemed transformed. The primitive world they had come to conquer was revealing itself to be something else entirely. We tried to warn the last ones too, he murmured, finally understanding the humans' message. The waiting was over. Earth's counterattack had begun. The sky above Earth lit up with strange, beautiful patterns of energy as ancient defense systems activated. People around the world stopped and stared upward, their fear turning to wonder. Something impossible was happening. Earth was fighting. Back Admiral Zorax watched his mighty fleet fall into chaos. The flagship systems flickered on and off. Gravity shifted unpredictably inside the vessels, causing crew members to float momentarily before being slammed back to the floor. Communication between ships became garbled and full of static. What is happening? Zorax demanded, gripping his command chair as the artificial gravity wavered again. Krell struggled to read the failing screens. Unknown, Admiral. Our engines are failing. Weapons systems are offline. Some kind of energy field is disrupting everything. Zorax had conquered 32 worlds for the hegemony. He had faced desperate resistance and clever defenses, but nothing like this. Launch all fighters, he ordered. Target those structures that have emerged from the oceans. The order went out, but only half of the hegemony's fighters managed to launch. As they dove toward Earth's atmosphere, strange distortions appeared around them. Some fighters simply vanished. Others spun out of control, their pilots reporting that time itself seemed to stretch and compress around them. Recall all ships, Zorax finally ordered. We must regroup beyond the moon and assess the situation. But retreat proved as difficult as attack. The same forces disrupting their weapons affected their engines. The mighty hegemony fleet, pride of an empire spanning hundreds of worlds, found itself trapped in Earth orbit. On the planet below, Linda Morrison led world leaders to a facility, hidden deep beneath the Arctic ice. Jack Sanders, Olivia Carter, and Greg Peterson accompanied them. The elevator descended for what seemed like miles. When the doors finally opened, they stepped into a vast chamber filled with technology, unlike anything humans had built. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Strange symbols, similar to those Lisa Mendez had discovered in Nevada, covered many surfaces. "What is this place?" the president asked, his voice hushed. "The primary control node," Linda answered. "One of 7 across the planet. From here we can monitor and direct Earth's defense systems." "How long has this been here?" Jack asked, looking around in awe. "It was constructed approximately 15,000 years ago," Linda said. "Before modern human civilization began." "By whom?" Olivia asked. Linda approached a circular platform in the center of the chamber. "By the predecessors, a coalition of species who recognized that life in this galaxy was precious and needed protection." She placed her hand on the platform, and it lit up in response to her touch. Holographic displays appeared in the air, showing the alien fleet in orbit and the status of defense systems around the world. The predecessors faced extinction from aggressive species that saw other life as resources to be harvested, Linda continued. Before they vanished, they created sanctuary worlds, places where refugees could find safety. Earth is one such world. In Nevada, Lisa Mendez watched as the recovered alien craft continued to transform. Parts shifted and reconnected, revealing new systems and interfaces. Colonel Reeves and the other scientists stood back, wary of the changing technology. "It's not a spacecraft," Lisa said with sudden certainty. "It's a key, a control module." She approached the craft, despite Colonel Reeves' warning. Something about the patterns of light seemed to call to her. When she placed her hand on the glowing surface, information flooded her mind, not as words or images, but as pure understanding. Lisa gasped and stumbled back. The others rushed to support her. "Are you all right?" Dr. Harris asked. "Better than all right," Lisa said, her eyes wide with wonder. "I understand now. The quantum physics we've been studying is just the beginning. There's a deeper level of reality the predecessors learned to access." She turned to Colonel Reeves. "We need to get to the Atacama facility. It's one of the control nodes like the one in the Arctic. From there we can help coordinate the defense systems." At the Arecibo Observatory, Alan Brooks and Kate Wilson tracked the alien fleet's desperate attempts to escape Earth's orbit. Their instruments detected the strange energy fields surrounding the ships. "It's like watching someone try to swim through honey," Kate said. Alan nodded. "The defense systems aren't destroying them. They're containing them." He pointed to readings on his screen. "Look at these temporal distortion patterns. They're slowing down time around the alien ships." "How is that even possible?" Kate wondered. "I don't know," Alan admitted. "But I think we're seeing technology that operates on principles we haven't even discovered yet." A message alert sounded on Alan's computer. "It's from Jack Sanders," he said, opening it. "We're being called to join a global response team. They're gathering people who've been involved since first contact." In the Arctic control node, Linda Morrison showed the world leaders how to access the defense system's status reports. The Izyak holographic displays showed green lights across the board. "The systems are functioning at 80% capacity," she explained. "It will take time for all nodes to reach full power after being dormant for so long." "And when they do?" the president asked. "Then we'll have options," Linda said. "Right now, the defenses are operating on automatic protocols: contain, disable, analyze. Once fully activated, we can take more precise actions." Jack stepped forward. "You said you're the keeper. What exactly does that mean?" Linda's face showed a mix of pride and weariness. Throughout human history, certain families were chosen to maintain knowledge of our world's true nature. We kept the secret, maintained what we could of the ancient systems, and prepared for the day when they would be needed. "Why keep it secret from humanity?" Greg asked. "Because knowledge attracts attention," Linda replied. Previous Guardian species developed too quickly, created technologies that drew notice from across the galaxy. They were hunted for their advances. Humans were given a different path: to develop slowly, appearing primitive while secretly becoming caretakers of this sanctuary. In orbit, Admiral Zorax faced the most difficult decision of his career. His fleet was crippled, caught in energy fields that defied understanding. Several ships had been captured by what appeared to be targeted gravity wells, drawn down to facilities on the surface. "Admiral," Krell reported, "we've lost contact with 12 vessels. The remaining ships report critical systems failing. Zorak stood at the viewing portal watching Earth turn below. The primitive world he had come to conquer had revealed itself to be something far more dangerous. A trap laid by an ancient and advanced civilization. "Prepare my personal shuttle," Zorax ordered. Krell looked shocked. "Admiral, I will go to the surface," Zorax said. "I will see these defenses for myself, and I will speak with the humans. If there is to be any hope for our people, we must understand what we face." As Zorax's shuttle departed the flagship, Earth's defense systems tracked its descent. In control nodes around the world, humans watched its approach. For the first time since the invasion began, a representative of the galactic hegemony was coming not as a conqueror but as a supplicant. The tables had turned. Now it was humanity that would decide the fate of those who had sought to enslave them. Admiral Zorax's shuttle landed on a flat plain in the middle of what humans called Switzerland. Armed soldiers surrounded the vessel, but they kept their distance. When the door opened, Zorax emerged alone, his tall gray-blue form standing out against Earth's blue sky. Jack Sanders waited with a small delegation. Linda Morrison stood beside him, her face calm as she faced the alien who had tried to conquer her world. Representatives from major nations formed a circle around them. "Admiral Zorax," Jack said, stepping forward. "I am Jack Sanders, representing Earth's Unified Response Team." Zorax studied the human with his large black eyes. "You sent the message. The warning." "I did," Jack admitted. "You knew we would not understand it," Zorax said. "It wasn't a question. We hoped it would make you cautious," Jack replied. "We needed time." Zorax looked around at the mountains, the sky, the grass beneath his feet. "This world is not what it appears to be. Neither are you." Linda stepped forward. "For thousands of years, humanity has been the caretaker of this sanctuary. We were chosen after the previous guardians attracted too much attention with their technological advancement." "The predecessors," Zorax said, the name clearly familiar to him. "They are spoken of in our oldest records, a species that vanished from the galaxy. Some believed they were destroyed, others thought they simply left." "They did both," Linda explained. "Some fled to distant galaxies. Others stayed to create sanctuaries like Earth, hiding their greatest achievements and knowledge where it would be protected." Across the world, the ancient defense systems continued to hold the hegemony fleet in stasis. In the Atacama Desert, Lisa Mendez worked with scientists from around the world to understand the newly activated technology. The underground facility hummed with energy as dormant systems came fully online. "The principles behind this technology are incredible," Lisa told her colleagues as they studied the control interfaces. "They weren't just manipulating matter and energy. They were manipulating the underlying fabric of reality." In orbit, Sub-Commander Krell watched helplessly as more hegemony ships were captured by Earth's defenses. Strange energy fields pulled them down toward the planet's surface, where they were deposited gently in remote areas and surrounded by containment fields. At the meeting in Switzerland, Zorax spoke of the galactic hegemony's history. "We began as explorers seeking new worlds and knowledge. Over generations, we became conquerors instead. The thrill of discovery was replaced by the need for resources, territory, power. A common path for intelligent species," Linda noted. "The predecessors observed this pattern repeating throughout the galaxy. It's why they created the sanctuaries, to preserve knowledge and life." Jack watched the alien admiral carefully. There was something like regret in his posture, in the way his large eyes seemed to take in Earth with new appreciation. "What will you do with my people?" Zorax finally asked. "With those you have captured?" Jack looked to Linda, who nodded. "That depends on you, Admiral. We have no desire for revenge, only security." In the Arctic control node, world leaders watched the meeting. Through holographic displays, the President of the United States turned to his advisors. "Can we trust them after they tried to conquer us?" "Perhaps the question," Greg Peterson suggested, "is whether they can trust us. Earth now has access to technology that could dominate the galaxy. The balance of power has shifted completely. Olivia Carter, who had been studying the symbols and communication patterns of the ancient systems, spoke up. The predecessors left warnings about wielding too much power too quickly. They believed advanced technology should serve life, not dominate it. Back in Switzerland, Zorax made a decision that would change the course of his civilization. I wish to offer terms, not as conqueror to conquered, but as one species to another. We're listening, Jack said. I will order my remaining ships to stand down completely. In exchange, I ask that you release those you have captured. The hegemony will recognize Earth as a sovereign sanctuary world, forbidden from interference or invasion. Linda considered this. And what guarantee do we have that the hegemony will honor this agreement when you return with the full might of your empire? Zorax looked up at the sky where his disabled fleet hung in orbit. Because I will tell them the truth, that Earth is protected by technology beyond our understanding, that the predecessor's legacy lives on here. No empire, no matter how vast, would risk facing such power again. In orbit, Krell received a transmission from Zorax ordering all hostilities to cease. The hegemony crews, already terrified by the inexplicable technologies they had witnessed, readily complied. Across Earth, people watched the news of the negotiation with a mixture of relief and wonder. The ancient defense systems had saved them from conquest, but also revealed that humanity's understanding of the universe was barely beginning. At the Arecibo Observatory, Alan Brooks and Kate Wilson received new data from the activated systems around the world. The information was overwhelming. Star maps showing other sanctuary worlds, histories of species long extinct, scientific principles that would revolutionize human understanding. There's so much to learn, Kate whispered, looking at the flood of information. Alan nodded. And we're not alone. There are other sanctuaries out there. In the Atacama facility, Lisa Mendez made another breakthrough. These systems aren't just for defense, she told Colonel Reeves. They're archives, libraries containing the collective knowledge of dozens of civilizations. Knowledge that could advance us centuries overnight, the colonel noted. Lisa shook her head. That's what destroyed previous Guardian species. They advanced too quickly and attracted unwanted attention. We need to be smarter. In Switzerland, the negotiations concluded. Zorax would return to his people with a message of peace and caution. Earth would release the captured hegemony ships once their weapons had been disabled. Before leaving, Zorax turned to Jack and Linda. You knew, didn't you? That's why your warning was so effective. You knew what happened to those who came before. Linda nodded. We keep the histories. Earth has faced would-be conquerors before. None remain to tell their tale. Zorax looked troubled. Then why spare us? Jack stepped forward. Because that's the true legacy we're protecting. Not just technology or knowledge, but compassion. The predecessors believed all life had value, even the life of those who threatened them. As Zorax's shuttle lifted off, Jack turned to Linda. What happens now? Linda watched the shuttle disappear into the clouds. Now we truly begin our role as guardians. The sanctuary is awakened, and so are we. Around the world, the ancient systems settled into a steady hum of activity. In orbit, the released hegemony ships limped away, humbled by their encounter with Earth. Kate Wilson, monitoring their departure from Arecibo, noticed something strange on her screens. Alan, look at this. There are signals coming from other star systems. Alan studied the data in amazement. They're like ours, the same patterns, the same energy signatures. Other sanctuaries, Kate whispered. As night fell across Earth, people looked up at the stars with new understanding. They were not alone in the universe. They were part of something larger, a network of worlds preserving the greatest achievements and hopes of countless civilizations. Earth broadcast a new message to the stars, not a warning this time, but an invitation to other sanctuaries. We stand together now. The age of isolation was over. The age of guardianship had begun.